So can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to share with you my research on spider silks and I change to their artificial counterparts. Yeah, I'm from the City University of Hong Kong. I'm running a laboratory for wearable materials of materials for healthcare. Why cannot? Next, okay. Here's the content. Okay, let's start the first thing first. I'm going to introduce spiders, webs, and their silks. You know, a spider, like this animal, is very small. It's wild. They're not beautiful, but they are very charming and powerful. You can see from this picture, Spider-Man fashion. This is spider spirits in the Journey to the West. It's one of the most famous literatures in Chinese history. More importantly, many scientists have also been fascinated by spider silk. The scientists are interested in by spider silk's smart behavior, good behavior. For example, super toughness, super contraction, water connection, and their hierarchical structure. Key funds of spider silk in research include, these are the commercial companies. They are developing commercial silks for different applications. These are the research organizations. These are top universities in the world. And these are the major funding organizations. They target to develop materials, spider silks for different applications. Okay, the spider silk under discussion, under intensive research, are many made by a so-called overweaver spider. This is one type of spiders in the world, and they can make very big webs, and this can be very useful. This can be this is the living universe for the spider. The Chinese people think spiders are very smart. So they advise people to learn from spiders, make connections so that they can have a better living. So this is what we're doing here at the conferences. Spider silks can be classified into 7 types. One of the most widely studied is called the dragonite. Can also be called a major ampli. This kind of fiber is used for framework of the spiral architecture, just like our building. This can be equivalent to pillars, columns, and then this is a capture spiral. And on the capture spiral, they can have this kind of spindles, very sticky, and then this can be also reinforce the spiral. In addition to this, this silk can also called the silk because they are fibers. They are very tiny fibers, and they have very high adhesion capability. And the spiders can make silks for capturing the prey and protect their next generations. As we have seen, the 7 types of the fiber silks, they have different properties, and so these different kind of properties or the diversity can make the spider web very versatile, very beautiful, very useful. Okay, so among their various amazing properties, super toughness is one of the most attractive things for scientists and the industrialists. This is because, we can see from this figure under the stress strain curve, there's the area. This is the energy can be stored under the tension for a material. You can see from this figure, spider silk has the largest area under its stress strain curve. And you can see it's many times of the steel, is a number of times of Kevlar. It's much bigger than current textile silk. This kind of properties are supposed to be very useful for this kind of perceived applications. Another amazing property for spider silk is a supercontraction. Supercontraction was discovered in 1950 by the Textile Research Journal. It is discovered that if silk is taken from the field, for example, this is the length from the field. If you put this silk and the water, it can contract very quickly. This contraction can be very big, up to 50%. And actually, 10 years ago, around 10 years ago, we made some a material called a water sensitive shape memory material. Yeah, we can make a material programmed into this kind of lengths, and then into this kind of lengths and the water, it can also contract to very large extent. So actually, these two things have the similar behavior. That is, under a certain amount of moisture content and the very wet content, there's a very big change in shape. This is actually shape memory behavior now, but in the past, for spider silk, it has a very special term called supercontraction. Yeah, we further analyze the data in the literature. This is perfectly can be this can be perfectly explained by the shape memory material program process. And this is the stressing curve. You can see after you relieve the stress, this silk cannot recover. Instead, once you put in the water, you can recover totally. This is the typical shape memory behavior. We prove it. In addition to the above, another very widely studied behavior of spider silk is a directional water connection capability. You can see this fiber, the diameter is very tiny, but the drops of water can be very large. This is because the spider silk has this kind of spindle structure. This kind of spindle structure can make the water move. It make the water move towards this spindle largest director, the peak. So to form this kind of water drops. This very typical for spider silks. We have admired this kind of behavior capability of spider silk a lot. And currently, there are a lot of development by mimicking spider silk for this. Now, let's have a very small summary for the spider silk properties. In combination with the shape memory and the water connection, you can see how amazing it is. The water connection normally happening during the light time, because during nighttime the temperature is low, so the water can be condensated on the spider silk. In the day, during the daytime, spider needs to work on it to, for example, to capture the prey, and to work on it so the spider web can be extremely distorted. During the night time, after connection this water, it can recover to its original beautiful architectural state. So this is the smartness. This is the amazing part of the spider silk. Okay, the above properties, the behavior are actually attributed to spider silk hierarchical structure. In order to understand it, we simplify it. This is the web, and we can take spider silk out to analyze the structure under the microscope, and the SMTM. We can discover that it has a hierarchical structure, the core shell structure, and in the core they also have a versatile fibrils. These fibrils can have crystal structure. This crystal structure of beta sheet, the beta sheet clusters, and then this kind of structure is actually from the silks, the gene sequence. Here is the gene sequence, for example, and this gene sequence can allow the self-assembly of, this can form the protein structure, and this protein structure can self-assemble under different situations into secondary structure like alpha-helices, beta sheet crystals, and they can be further self-assembled into tertiary and a quaternary structure. Yeah, this is the hierarchical structure of spider silk. It's from the spindle, on the abdomen of the spider, and this is further connected to the gland within the spider abdomen. Yeah, we have known the spider silk's hierarchical structure, but the hierarchical structure the key feature is determined by this secondary structure. This is the beta sheet crystals and the alpha helices. Besides, except for these two, there's also random coil domain. So altogether, this is the simplified structure of spider silk. So we can represent it into this kind of figure schematic. So collectively, we can summarize the structure of the spider silk in this way. First, it has alpha helices, which are responsible for elasticity, and then the random coils are responsible for the stretchability. More importantly, they have the beta sheet crystals responsible strings, high strings, and the modulus. This kind of structure can be further simplified into this kind of ladder point and random coils, and this kind of inside, because it's a chip memory, it has a switch. We can simplify into this one. So this is like nanoscales. Yeah, and currently, in the past a number of decades, there has been intensive research and development inspired by spider silk. This is because, first of all, spiders are carnivores. They are not formable, not just like this kind of silkworm. Silkworm can be formed at home in factory very easily, so we can get a large quantity of materials, silks for making commodities, making the products. However, the spiders cannot be done like that. They fight each other, so we cannot rely on their natural state to make webs. So we have to have artificial counterparts. Normally, currently, there are two major parts to make artificial spider silks. First of all, we need to make a spandroids. That means proteins, proteins of spider silks. There are two methods. One is genetic engineering. The other is the chemical synthesis, chemical engineering. In genetic engineering, we choose or design a silk gene sequence, and then put into this vector. Then we can transform the vector into the different kind of living things. For example, here is the bacterial, E. coli bacterial. So once the plasmid get into the into the living things. Here is the E. coli, and then they can reproduce, express this. They can express the protein, spider silk protein called spandroin, and this kind of things can be purified. It can be purified through a number of steps. And then we can get the protein. The protein can be further used for different applications, particularly for fibers. This method has been tried by a number of research groups, but this is very expensive. This is very slow, very small productivity. So there have been also attempts to use the chemical synthesis. The chemical synthesis is targeted for reproducing these kind of structures. So let's start the genetic engineering first. You know, in our group, we have actually tried to make the spandroin imitating this silk, that is dragon eye, imitating this silk, imitating this silk, imitating this silk. So we have tried. Well, I've been tried. Chemically, we tried this method. Genetically, we tried a number of silks. Okay, this is our first work. We imitating the egg case silk. Imitating egg case silk normally has this kind of stress strain curves. This should have very special applications under some special cases. For example, diabetes socks, food, and maybe for the elderly, we can make the trousers with waist like this. They under certain extension, there's no force increase, so it keeps you comfortable. So we designed such a gene sequence, and then we analyzed their hydrophilic hydrophobic component. Due to this kind of hydrophilic hydrophobic distribution, the formulation, they can self-assemble into this kind of micelles, and the micelles can form the globules, and these globules can be extended, and the very small spinnerets. So eventually we can get the fibers. This was actually carried out, implemented in microfluidics. So we successfully made the fibers can be seen like this, and yeah, with properties as shown in this figure. We also designed another genetic engineering process for making dragonite fiber. Dragonite fiber, as we have already reviewed, that dragonite fiber has a super toughness. At the same time, it also has a shape memory behavior. This is a typical structure. Here is the sequence, and then we can have two NNT terminals. Yeah, we eventually produce the proteins for spinning, for fiber spinning. Yeah, we actually did a simulation of the spider, artificial spider silk, and its interaction with water. So this is the simulation, the water absorption, the water function on the spider silk structures. Here it shows that it has the contraction. The contraction can increase with the humidity, and the contraction. And this is the I think this is the change. This is the changing length. This is the contraction, actually the super contraction we simulated. Here shows the stress strain curve, which can show there's a super contraction. So we stretch it into this stage and then release the force. The fiber can recover a little bit, but not totally. Actually, there's a very big distance for full recovery. But when we put in the water, it can recover here so that we can recycle again. So this is the shape memory behavior which can be tested by this kind of tensile methods. What is interesting to us is that this is the work of our fiber. This is the recovery stress of the fiber we made. You can see in comparison with all these kind of materials, this material, the artificial spider silk can have very high recovery stress. Recovery stress, that means the stress can make the shape recovery. This is one of the very important properties of the shape memory materials. In addition to this one, this is very special. This is silicone. This is inorganic material. Among all kind of organic materials, this spider silk can have the highest recovery stress. This is very important. This is very special for spider silk among shape memory polymeric materials. Yeah, this work was published in Materials Chemistry Frontiers. We also did spider silk for water connection. Water connection, as we have already represented, that this distorted the web can be restored by the water absorption. So it's very important property for different applications. So we again with genetic method to make a protein called the E major ampli spider silk 2. This is gene sequence 2. This so we use the same method, genetic engineering process, to make this kind of spandroid. That means spider silk proteins. And then we code this one onto the silkworm silk. They can automatically form this kind of spindle structures. Before us, there are a number of research working on the water connection by artificially made fibers. But this kind of fibers have this kind of features. First, the core fiber is nylon, but these coating materials can be various, like this. And then connectively, they may have, or individually, they may have these kind of problems. First, they cannot, they are hydrophobic. Their volume water connection connected, the volume of the water connection to weight is not very big. That means it's not very efficient. Yeah, the structure can need to be very long, and but they are also not that biodegradable. So instead, by making the fiber like this, as I said, we actually use the silkworm silk, and this is the genetic engineered protein. So we combine them. It's called the all silk protein fiber. This kind of fiber can carry, the water drop with very high efficiency. Just like here, this can be very big, but this one, you see, this is big because its host is very big, but this one is big at the same time. Its host and its fiber is very small. So this is equivalent to ant to carry a very big bag, and this is very equivalent to a very big man to carry a very small weight. So this is what we have achieved for the spider silk water connection, particular directional water connection. Yeah, here we have some indices to show the advantages of our spider silk. First of all, you can see that this is 3 contact lengths. The length is very short, but the maximum volume is very big. Yeah, so this is one of the indicators to show the effectiveness of water connection for the artificial spider silks worldwide. And this one you can see maximum volume, of course, is very big, and this is the volume mass ratio. This is a parameter we designed, and eventually you can see this is the highest. This is the highest with very large large volume. So yeah, I show this property again. This is what we seen from the microscope. This paper was published in Advanced Functional Materials. Yeah, the other thing is the application. Actually, so far there are no successful spider silks, artificial spider silks commercialized. Here we have some samples. For example, you can compare. This is the traditional silk. This is the current state of the spider silk. You can see they are roughly, it's very small, it's very big, so cannot be compared with this natural silk. Yeah, this one, they're also not very useful actually in comparison. They cannot be even compared with the spider silk properties. So we had actually pointed out the problems with the genetic engineered fibers, and because of those problems, we moved to chemical engineering. So chemical engineering is to make a polymer structure which can have this kind of structures, and often it says beta sheet crystals, random coil, etc. Yeah, so we have already achieved this success. This was our first attempt. That's exactly 10 years ago. One of the postdocs asked her to design shape memory behavior materials that's really inspired by spider silk. The first time I got a systematic review of spider silks. So we want to apply this kind of structure for making shape memory polymers, shape memory fibers. The first thing we did is to make beta sheet crystals, but we didn't pay too much on the elasticity, etc. So suppose because spider silk does have the supercontraction, can actually open this switch. So the spider silk should have a switch there. So we can simplify the structure like that. This means our students really have understood the topic. Yeah, when we analyze the structure of infrared, there are different evidences published. So they basically within here they have we have measured the bond, the bond of the molecules of the nanostructures. That means they have formed a certain, they have absorbed the different infrared. Okay. Actually, this kind of method has a problem. This problem can lead to the inability of synthesizing the random coils with the crystals, because crystals are so tough, so strong, they cannot be broken easily. Even it's broken, we cannot reuse it. Actually, in reviewing the literature, we can find out that for the chemical synthesis imitating a spider silk effort in our human being, people have tried alpha beta sheet polymers can be synthesized, but these are two different things. But in the second stage, the beta sheet crystals can be formed, and this is a very big progress. However, under the stage 3 of helices and beta sheet crystals can be provided for for segments. They can yeah, this is targeted for the low molecular weight and the low concentration efficiency, unable to achieve the high performance spider silk because you know they know the low we yeah, we need to have this kind of structure. But there are also attempt that we can make alpha beta these two chemical structure components separately and then condense them together to make the alpha helices and beta sheet crystals together. But this kind of methods are extremely slow. The materials obtained have very low molecules, and then they can be they cannot be further used very efficiently, particularly for imitating spider silk. So we have made a progress in making artificial spider silk by chemical methods. So yeah, here we have the design of alpha helices of the amino acids, and then these amino acids can be out together with some other oligomers, and then they can form big molecular chains, and then it can be used for forming these three types of structures: alpha beta crystal, as well as the random coils. So after we obtained such fiber, we examined it. Very fortunately, we have achieved the highest toughness of the spider silks, even among all the materials. So here shows that among these are not our actually exactly counterparts. Instead, this one may be. This can yeah, we can produce a fiber with extraordinary toughness comparable with natural fibers. Yeah, this is a architecture of spider silk structure for the above work. Okay, you know, if we take out the segment of the spider silk, we can get the alpha beta sheet crystals, and then we can use this kind of very small spots to link all these kind of elements together, and then to make the fibers. So this paper was published in Advanced Materials. After we achieve the spider silk, we have achieved the good properties of the spider silk, and there are companies who are there are companies which are very interested in our work. So this work is done by these two people. So we in our city university, I moved here 2 years ago, and then we published this paper, and later on we established this laboratory, and then we got some business collection. That means some companies look for us to, they want to commercialize our work. So, and then we formed an internal team. Then we can, we eventually got a Hong Kong Tech 300 and Hong Kong High Tech publication funding. These are the two funding for running the entrepreneurship. Okay, show you again. This is the evidence that we have already made a logo. We have already published in top journal. Probably next one is to make all this all these kind of artificial spiders so successful. Okay, and let's make a very brief conclusion of the spider silks. First of all, spiders which are very much live on their web through making small materials, and more importantly, small materials can represent the silk, can represent silk. The silk has hierarchical structure can have nano beta sheet and alpha helices. You can, yeah, and then the spider cell can have the toughness, water connection, and super contraction. Yeah, in particular, artificial spider cell counterparts can be made by genetic engineering and chemical engineering. This kind of cells can be ferroavalized. And okay, this is our group. This is the yeah, this is the end of the presentation. Thank you very much. Hello.
Thank you so much for that insightful talk, Dr. Jinlian. Can you stop sharing your screen?
Stop sharing. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And now the stage is open for questions.
Okay, questions?
Yeah. We assume there are no questions for you.
Okay.
If there are any questions later, we will reach out to you.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.